Mr. Chairman, we have sound.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Welcome. This is the September 19th meeting of the Mobile City Planning Commission. I would like to take a moment to review our general operating procedures. Our meeting is divided into two sections, the public hearing section and the deliberation session. In the public hearing session, an agenda item is called. The applicant makes their presentation. Commission members ask questions. Members of the public make comments to the commission. Only 4 people may speak for an agenda item and 4 people against. Each speaker is limited to 5 minutes, subject to questions by the commission. At 1 minute remaining, you'll have a warning bell or beep prompting you to summarize your comments. After opposition speakers have finished, the applicant is allowed a 2-minute rebuttal. If you intend to speak, come to the podium, speak into the microphone, and provide your name and address for the record. Direct all comments to the commission only and not to the applicant, staff, or the audience. After hearing all applications, the commission will go into the deliberation session. In the deliberation session, the commissioners discuss each application with input from the staff as necessary, but with no input from the audience. Commissioners then vote on each application. Results of the meeting can be learned from the planning department. If some issues arise during the deliberation session that were not addressed in the public hearing, the chairman has the discretion to allow additional comments pertaining to those issues in order to resolve them or call the application to be held over for discussion at a future meeting. Occasionally, a commissioner may recuse themselves from discussing and voting on a given application. A recusal does not mean that the member is directly involved with the application or the applicant. However, depending on the circumstances, ethical rules may require a recusal, even if there is only the slightest appearance of a conflict of interest. If a regular member recuses, a supernumerary will vote in their stead. The Planning Commission makes final decisions on subdivisions with appeals of these decisions to the Circuit Court. The Planning Commission is strictly a recommending body for rezonings, conditional use permits, and planned developments. The City Council makes the final decision on these applications. All appeals of the City Council decisions are to the Circuit Court. Please take a second to silence or turn off your cell phones. Commissioners and staff, please turn on your microphones when speaking. All right, we will conduct the roll call. Our chairman, Mr. Stubbs, is not present today, so I'm filling in, so y'all please bear with me. But I'm Kirk Matei, I'm present. Our secretary, Jennifer Denson. Ms. Shirley Sessions, absent. Mr. Larry Dorsey, Mr. Chad Anderson, here. Mr. Matt Anderson, Mr. Nick Amberger, here. Mr. Josh Woods,
Here.
Mr. Harry Brislin, Mr. Kenny Nichols. All right, that establishes that we have a quorum. Number 1 on the agenda, and I think we said this number 1 and 14 are the same development, so I think just in the interest of time, we can take those 2 at the same time. Number 1, this is 231 McFarland Road in the Angel Brook subdivision. It is a subdivision of 108 lots and request for a waiver of construction of a sidewalk along McFarland Road. Is the applicant present?
Good afternoon, Planning Commission. I'm Tim Lawley with Sawgrass Engineering. I'm here on behalf of the applicant. I appreciate y'all considering taking both 1 and 14 at the same time. We have between those two items, 2 subdivision applications and a rezoning application. Other than that, we've been working with city staff on a few items, one of those being the work out of McFarland Road. Currently, the plans are showing some milling. We're trying to get that taken out of the plans and just do some restriping. We've had a couple meetings with city engineering staff, and that's just wanted to point out for the record that we are still working through that with the city staff.
Are there any of the conditions, and I guess we kind of need to be specific for the record, on the subdivision with number 1, any issues with any of the conditions on any of these?
No, sir.
All right. And same with number 14. Mr. Nichols is recused on these 2 items. Any issues with the 16 conditions on number 14 on that subdivision?
No, sir.
And we also have a rezoning, so we'll take all these separately. No issues with any of this. All right. Any questions from the commission?
Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, the reason for the sidewalk waiver?
The reason for the sidewalk waiver, as y'all know, this was originally approved by the county. We didn't have it in those plans. So one reason, which I know probably doesn't mean a lot to y'all, is that they weren't planning on putting it in. Another thing is there's not any sidewalks in the immediate area to connect to. And then a third concern is on one hand, I do realize it would be nice for the kids to be able to walk to school. On the other hand, there's no sidewalks at the school for the kids to walk on. So if there's a sidewalk that runs to the north property line, it's basically going to be directing children into the school bus parking area with, that they'll have to cross to actually get to the school.
Gotcha. I kind of do disagree with the sidewalk waiver. I know at least over the past month, I've gotten 2 emails about how come we don't have sidewalks out there. Part of it is you just got in the city. So one of the things I kind of, just looking, in the foreseeable future, I think the sidewalks are going to be key out there. And I know as far as discretionary funds, I think discretionary funds could possibly be used to link that, at least get that started. So at least towards the school. So I definitely, with the population growth and the addition of the population, I kind of would be opposed to the sidewalk waiver. And then I did have a question for staff. As far as the R1 mix and the R3 mix, adding this into the whole mix of everything, isn't a secondary ingress required for this development?
Subdivision regulations would not necessarily require any sort of secondary point of egress. Typically, that would have been addressed at one point by the subregs, but when they were amended, any secondary access points were removed. And I believe also the state fire code was at one point amended as well to not require secondary points of access.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Any other questions from commissioners? All right. Is anyone here to speak for this agenda item? Is there anyone here to speak in opposition to this agenda item? All right. Go on down, state your name and address.
Hello, my name is Ashley Thrash, and I live at 2410 Cottage Woods Court, which is the back of the 108 lot that is trying to be approved for the townhomes. I'm asking that you deny them or move them to the other side of the subdivision to where it wouldn't tower over our homes and our backyards, and put it by the school maybe. If you can't deny it or move it, maybe have shades and a large privacy fence, because I can already see them just standing outside working. So I know a 2-story townhome completely towers over my kid playing in the yard, swimming, whatever. That's my issue.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from commissioners? Are there any other speakers in opposition to either agenda item 1 or 14.
And Mr. Chairman, Ms. Thrash did submit her comments also online regarding this. And just for the record, if you look at the map behind you, her property is located here. And this is the location of the nearest townhome, would be this square here. So there's a minimum of about 100 feet between her property line and the edge of the first townhome.
Bert, that appears to be like a hammerhead turnaround in the street. I mean,
That's correct. There will be a hammerhead turnaround here and then just a stub here on this end.
thank you.
All right, any response by the applicant? All right, moving on to agenda item number 2. This is 1859 Tolman Avenue in the Tolman Avenue subdivision. This is a subdivision of one lot, or to create one legal lot of record from one meets and bounds record. Is the applicant present? I'm not seeing anyone unless I'm missing it. No. All right. Any questions or comments by the commission? Anyone to speak in favor of this agenda item other than the applicant? Anyone here to speak in opposition? All right, we'll move on to agenda item number 3. This is also to create one legal lot of record from one meets and bounds lot. This is 1752 Langdon Drive, Crosby Addition subdivision. Is the applicant present? Yeah.
My name is Gerald Crosby. I reside at 7052 Langdon Drive.
Mr. Crosby, have you had an opportunity to review the staff report? And I think there's 8.
Okay, we have we got approved to get a house built and everything. So what it is, they said they have to rezone. And so we're here to try to get back in our home because we staying with someone.
Yeah.
And we've been there since May. And they tired of us and we tired of them. And we just try to please y'all, please approve it. My neighbors, they okay with it. And I love our neighborhood on Alpha House Ferry and Langdon Drive. Please, y'all, I'm ready to go home.
Do you have any issues with the conditions that are listed in the staff report? Good with everything that's in there?
So I was looking for our representative to come. His name is Richard Bird, but I guess they probably got tied up in, or something. But if y'all can find it in y'all heart, please help us. I'm ready to go home.
All right.
Thank you.
Any questions from the commission? All right. Thank you. Anything else y'all wanted to say?
That's
Okay.
it. I'm just
All right.
ready to go
Yeah.
home. Thank y'all.
Is anyone here to speak in opposition or have any concerns with this agenda item? All right. All right, we'll move on to number 4. This is 651 Todd Acres Drive in the Ruby Moore subdivision. This is an application to create one lot of record. Is the applicant present? Mr. Byrd, any issues? All right. Anyone here to speak in opposition to this agenda item? Any comments, questions about the commission? All right, we'll move on to number 5. This is a subdivision of 2 lots. It's the east side of Alba Club Road, approximately 645 feet north of Staples Road.
We're in agreement, but I didn't know if you need to point out the lot width on the two lots, slightly less than the 60 feet. But we have more than ample size in each of the lots. Instead of 60 feet, we got 57 and a half, but it creates 10,000 square feet instead of 3,000 square feet more than the required minimum. But
Any,
we don't have a problem with anything.
all right. Any questions or comments about the commission? All right.
Would, Mr. Chair or staff, to his point, would anything need to be noted immediately to ensure that when it comes to permit, it's not sitting on somebody's desk for 21, 30 days or anything?
Well, the waiver request regarding the lot width issue that Mr. Byrd mentioned is part of the suggested approval conditions.
Yeah, this agenda item would require a waiver of section 6C2B2 related to lot width. I think Mr. Byrd said that it's 2.5 feet shy of the minimum. Anything else, Mr. Byrd?
No.
All right, thank you. Is anyone else here to speak in favor of this agenda item? Anyone here to speak in opposition to it? All right, we will move on to agenda item number 6. This is 69 North Monterey subdivision to create 2 lots from 2 existing lots. Is the applicant present? Rob and Debbie Hayes. Yeah. Any concerns with the staff report? Okay. All right. Any comments from the commission? All right. I had one question. Yeah, Sam.
My name's Sam Winter. I'm at 22 South Lafayette Street.
So just looking at this, the current lot lines, is there going to be parking for lot 1 off the street?
Yeah, off the street, on North Monterey Street, you can park
Okay.
on the street. That's
All right.
correct.
All right, that was the only question. If there was going to be off-street parking for lot 1 was the only.
Lot 1 does not have off-street parking. It has just on the street, but that double carport, you see the covered carport, that is attached to the main house. So they would use that driveway to come in and park in that double carport.
Okay, all right. That's so still would have a use of the lot too. I mean, it's 2 lots now, so it's just
That's correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Any other questions?
That was all I had.
No,
Thank
okay.
you, Mr. Winter.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right, anyone else to speak in favor of that agenda item? Anyone to speak in opposition? All right, we will move on to agenda item number 7. This is 6137 Todd Acres Drive and 5632 Commerce Boulevard West. It's an application for a subdivision of creating 7 lots. Name and address, please.
Charles Tisher, 3901 Spring Hill Avenue. Just wanted to address, we're good with all the comments in this. For the lot that is not standard, the lot 3 where we don't conform, that is actually a lot. The neighbor next door has an encroachment with his driveway and stuff over onto that property. So rather than fight it out with him, the goal was to just subdivide that little piece out, deed it over to him. Just seemed the easiest way to go on that.
Any issues with the egg conditions?
Nope.
Any questions or comments from the commission? All right, thank you, Mr. Tisher.
Thanks.
Is anyone here to speak in favor of agenda item number 7?
Hey there, Ben Reynolds, 3908 San Andrews Loop. I'm the city council representative for this area. I'm actually here to speak in favor of this subdivision. I think it's something that needs to happen. But I'm asking that the planning commission make it a finding of fact that this parcel of land on lot 4 has already been rezoned down to R1. There's a legal opinion here that suggests that the application before you today does not accurately reflect the downzoning of this parcel. And there is also a memorandum of understanding that was included in the record as part of January 9th's passage by the city council to downzone this to R1. And there was agreement amongst all parties. So I'm just asking as a condition of this subdivision that it be made a finding of fact, referencing ordinance, bear with me, 64011. So just to include 64011 as a finding of fact and make it that this application would, essentially only be valid by way of, the acceptance of the downzoning of this parcel that's already been accepted and approved by the city council.
And that's just with regard to lot, I think it's 4?
That's correct.
Okay.
That is that, yep, right there. That parcel, which is represented by B5 today, it's actually R1 by way of the zoning approval by Mobile City Council.
In all due respect to the councilman, it's not y'all's job to do that. If there's a question about the rezoning that was done earlier this year, that's not for y'all to determine. Y'all don't know the facts. I was given the legal opinion about 30 minutes before this meeting. I've talked with other people in the city legal department. There are a lot of questions about that rezoning, but this is just subdivision, and the subdivision plat's not going to indicate the zoning classifications, and it's not y'all's job to make a determination of something or to verify something the city council's done. It's just not something we do. And I know there's a lot of concern about the rezoning. And I don't know all the facts. I just know there's concern out there. There's legal questions, and I'm not going to let y'all make that determination. This is a subdivision, and that's it.
Mr. Chairman, one thing I would like to point out, as per Councilman Reynolds' comment, Lot 4, as shown on the plat that is before us for consideration, is not the same land area as is shown, or the question thereof. That would be Lot 6, just for clarification.
Thank you, Kenny. I appreciate that. Yeah, Lot 6 is what's in question. I just ask that you guys, as a matter of your consideration, to avoid sort of, future conflict with this application, to just simply make it a finding of fact that, either there is a question about the zoning, the existing zoning that's been put forward by staff, that the city council has in fact already rezoned this property along with, consent by all parties involved. That would be the Industrial Parks Board, the Lathans. There's a memo that's included in the record as part of this. So, I appreciate what's been said, that there is some legal questions obviously surrounding, this property and this rezoning. It's a very interesting thing. Since we've had the UDC, it's sort of been, we've all been understanding it, trying to figure it out. And this is the first time this sort of action has happened, because the UDC expanded this opportunity for the city council to rezone a property by its own motion, after taking the consideration from the planning commission. And then, we on our own motion chose something different or did something different. And, the parties that were involved with this were in agreement with it, and I believe still are in agreement with it as being R1. So my request today is that, there's no objection to a subdivision per se. It's just that the facts that are before you are not accurately represented based on the votes that were taken by the people's representative. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councilman. Yeah, you can go ahead and you can respond, Mr. It might be, I think it's proper to see if there's anyone else that wants to speak in favor of it. But you'll have 2 minutes, or if there is anyone else.
I can clear this up quickly.
Okay, yeah.
As long as we're talking about lot 6, Mr. Lathan is fine with that going to R1. I don't know if that can be done here or not. Legally, that's up for everybody else. But his intent the entire time for lot 6 is to make that R1. So that's fine.
Mr. Chairman, we're voting on a subdivision today.
Whether it is or isn't R1 or B5, or whether the zoning was done correctly, is not before y'all today. We were not involved in that zoning process. And in all due respect, we're going to vote to subdivide it or re-subdivide it, hopefully. And that's all we're going to do. We're not going to address any of the zoning that the council did. Thank you.
And that's fine. Thank you.
Is there anyone else here to speak in favor of this application? Anyone here to speak in opposition to this application? All right, we will move on to agenda number 8. This is the northwest corner of Congress Street and North Claiborne Street, extending northwest corner of North Claiborne Street and Adams Street, and the north terminus of North Jackson Street. This is a subdivision to create 11 lots.
Mr. Chairman, before Mr. Byrd speaks, I'd like to point out that the staff report had an error in it that we need to rectify in the proposed conditions. If you look at the list of conditions for this application, we had noted for item 4 that lots needed to identify their primary frontages, and that would apply for lot 2, which is the corner lot on Congress and North Claiborne Street, and then for lot 8, which has frontage on Adams Street and North Claiborne Street. So that's condition number 4. For condition number 5, I believe it was stated that lot 8 is denied a curb cut. However, lot 8 has sufficient right-of-way or frontage width along North Claiborne Street. It meets the minimum width requirement that they would be allowed to have one curb cut to North Claiborne Street.
Sorry, this is going to remove condition number 5 and amend condition number 4, identifying primary frontages for lots 2 and 8. Is that?
Well, it would identify lots 2 and 8 for number 4, and then amend condition number 5, stating that lot 8 is limited to one curb cut to North Claiborne Street.
Is okay. Allowed. All right. Mr. Byrd?
Yes, sir. Jerry Byrd, Bird Survey, and applicant. I'm in agreement with what's been said there. There's one other thing. Yeah, under considerations, it's number 7, compliance with all engineering comments. So going back to the engineering comments, the E is in Edward. Dedicate a corner radius 10 feet or as approved by city engineer and traffic engineer. Would like to eliminate that. This is our plat that we submitted. We're talking about this corner here. A year ago, this was one large lot that was approved by the Planning Commission without a corner radius. So apparently it wasn't needed at that point. I don't see the reason for putting that restriction on it this time.
My understanding, the staff report has a waiver in here for the corner radius. Is that
well
take care of it, or you want?
It wasn't really a waiver. It was or is approved by city engineering 10-foot minimum, or is approved. I guess a square corner on there could be as approved.
Mr. Chairman, let me address that if I may. We revisit that note on a lot of developments downtown, and we've conscientiously made a choice to leave that in there as a comment, so that collectively the private developer and the city look at those corners, because in a lot of instances those corners just can't accommodate the sidewalk or the ADA ramps that are there. So generally, the engineering department doesn't really require one, but we want to make sure that we all look at it, because in some instances there's live oak trees there that maybe we need to go around, or there's some other utility, something left over from yesteryear that we're just having to accommodate. So this one likely will be approved, but that's why that is there. just because there's just so many nuances downtown. And we're just wanting to try to make sure that the sidewalks can remain in the right of way, or if we have a circumstance where we have large vehicles of some sort and that radius needs to be improved so that those vehicles aren't driving, consistently over the curb. But that's why that note is routinely in these, in these downtown subdivisions.
Norman, I understand that. Normally, that's a good way to go. This was just a year ago that it was approved with a square corner.
I
So,
get it. Understood.
There couldn't be much happening.
Understood.
Other than that, okay.
Anyone else here to speak in favor of agenda item number 8? Anyone here to speak in opposition to agenda 9?
Hey, dude, Mark Minner, 312 North Joachim. I'm not really speaking against, but I would just like some clarity. Are they going to develop Lot 8 or not? We're not in understanding what you guys just did with Lot 8. Can you give us any kind of clarification?
What we're voting on today, we're voting on the subdivision of the property. So,
Okay, I get that.
So we're not the developers, so we can't really answer questions about development with regard to the subdivision application.
Okay, but they're allowing a curb cut in Lot 8. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
So that will be a buildable lot once completed?
Presumably.
Okay, I mean, we're just asking for clarification.
Yeah.
Anyone else here to speak either for or against agenda item number 8? Any comments, questions about staff? Mr. Byrd, do you have anything else to say? Okay. All right, moving on to agenda item number 9. This is 625, 635, 645, 55, 665, 675, and 685 Dawes Road. This is a subdivision of 64 lots. Is the applicant present?
Thank you. I'm Donnie Stovall with Engineering Design Group. This is a resubmittal, I guess, for subdivision application. This has been previously approved. It has an active land disturbance permit, and the project is nearly done. They're about to pave and install sidewalks. I believe that's all they have left. We were getting ready to start the final plating process when we realized that the preliminary plat approval had expired, and so we are coming here to get that renewed.
Any questions, comments by the staff or commission? All right. Thank you, Mr. Stovall.
Thank you.
Anyone else here to speak for or against agenda item number 9? All right. Move on to agenda item number 10. This is 5755 and 5761 US Highway 90 West. This is a sidewalk waiver. Is the applicant present? I am recusing from this item.
Mark Vereen, 3901 Sprinkle Avenue, with Clark Gear Latham Associates, representing TVH Properties, the owners of Theodore Vet Hospital. Highway 90 is an ALDOT controlled right-of-way. We reached out to Michael Smith, the permit manager in Mobile. He didn't recommend a sidewalk in their right-of-way. Due to the southern portion you see of the site in red, it leads to right there. It leads to the north bank of Rabbit Creek. It's a 3-to-1 slope. So it's going to be a dead-end sidewalk. With that being said, with it leading to a dead end and around the water, he said it would have increased liability for ALDOT and other parties. So in our proposed plan, we placed the sidewalk inside of our property in that median strip to appease his comments. But with that, I believe y'all had the same recommendation. That southern portion wouldn't be recommended with it being a 3-to-1 slope. That's not a pedestrian friendly slope, not ADA compliant. It dead ends into north bank of Rabbit Creek. There's no sort of pedestrian bridge there to cross. The developed properties south of Rabbit Creek don't have any sort of sidewalks to connect that access point. In the staff report, engineering recommended approving that southern portion. Now the middle portion in between the two existing curb cuts. That portion, if you look at the property, Theodore Vet Hospital is an existing property there to where the service road was vacated, so it's part of their property. And you see on the north side, the property line jogs in to the east of the service road right there. We proposed a sidewalk right there that would be in line with that property. So any of the undeveloped properties to the north of this development that we have here would tie in a sidewalk there and continue their tie-ins there. And with that, we have the ramps with truncated domes accessing the front of the Theodore Vet Hospital. And just my last comment on this, before this area was annexed to City Mobile, this area of 90 was highly developed, not really pedestrian travel friendly. There's no sidewalks within half a mile to a mile in either direction. So we're trying to get this waiver approved, but we are willing to implement that sidewalk on the east side of the service road for future tie-in.
Any comments or questions from the commission? Thank you. Anyone else here to speak in favor of the waiver application? Anyone here to speak against? Okay, thank you. We'll be moving forward to number 11. 4297 Riviere du Chien Road. A request to change the construction of a sidewalk along the Riviere du Chien Road.
David Schumer, 3213 Midtown Park South. This is River du Chien. It doesn't have sidewalks on the bridge, and the slope is too steep to build it along River du Chien. And I am asking, in addition, I don't know if it can be included or not, the pedestrian connection that's required by code for the site to connect to the sidewalk. I was wondering if that was included with this. We are still having a sidewalk on Hall's Mill, but that is significantly far away from where the development is, as you can see. And to provide a pedestrian connection for somebody that would potentially be walking would be difficult. I don't know if that can be included with this or not.
Well, a sidewalk has to be provided under the UDC from the building to a sidewalk if there is one provided on an abutting street. A sidewalk is proposed along Halls Mill Road here, and therefore the sidewalk would have to be provided under the Unified Development Code. In order to waive the sidewalk from the building out to the street, you would have to actually apply for a variance because that is in the zoning ordinance. Now, the applicant did not request a waiver of the sidewalk on Halls Mill Road. If both Riviere du Chien and Halls Mill Road sidewalks are waived, then there would be no requirement for the building to public sidewalk connection. But that was not requested.
So that would just be, that'd be Board of Adjustment.
So what's before us then is just the waiver of the sidewalk along River du Chien.
Yes.
Okay.
And staff, for confirmation, it's not possible. Is it possible for us to consider a waiver of the sidewalk on Halls Mill Road at this time?
Well, it was not requested and it was not advertised for that, so there's been no notification to the public for that, so I advise not.
And for the commissioners, there's several businesses, on either side. In fact, the one just across the street has just recently constructed a sidewalk. I know it's spotty along that corridor, but the more recent construction businesses have had sidewalks along Halls Mill.
Yeah, it doesn't go all the way to River du Chien. The sidewalk is there. It stops 20 feet short of River du Chien. I don't know why it didn't. But that was the reason for the I didn't think that there would be a viable request to
I just
deny.
said along Halls Mill, a number of the businesses along there, the more newer construction out there has had sidewalks constructed.
And that was why we didn't request
Sure.
Halls Mill. But I didn't know that you'd still figuring out the UDC and all the nuances. But other than that, just River to Shane sidewalk.
All right. Anyone else here to speak in favor of agenda item number 11 or opposed to agenda item number 11? Move on to agenda item number 12. This is 6950 Moffett Road. It's a rezoning from limited neighborhood business suburban district LB2 to single family residential. It's R1. Is the applicant present? Any concerns in the conditions? All right. Nothing noted. Anyone here to speak in favor of number 12? Anyone here to speak in opposition to agenda item number 12? All right. Moving on, number 13. This is 1 Hardwood Lane. This is a major modification of a previously approved planning approval and modification of a PUD. Is the applicant present? Mr. Byrd, any concerns with staff report of conditions? All right. Anyone here to speak in favor of agenda item number 13 or opposed to agenda item number 13? All right. We have already handled number 14, so that will conclude the public hearing session. We will move to the deliberation session. We can take number 1 and number 14 together. Mr. Nichols is recused. All right. So agenda item number 1, this is a subdivision creating 108 lots and a sidewalk waiver. We'll take all of these separately. So number 1, subdivision. This does include 2 waivers. Call for a motion.
Move to approve, subject to staff recommendations.
Second.
Any discussion from the commission? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? All right, the motion passes. We'll go to the sidewalk waiver on agenda item number 1.
Move to deny the sidewalk waiver.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, so sidewalk waiver fails. We'll then go ahead and just take 14 to keep us orderly. This is a subdivision creating 48 lots.
Move to approve, subject to staff recommendations.
Second.
Properly moved and second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Opposed.
All right, the motion passes on the subdivision. This also included a rezoning. Is there a motion?
Move to approve, subject to staff recommendations.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Opposed.
All right, the motion, the rezoning passes. We will go to agenda item number 2. 859 Tolman Avenue. This is a 1-lot subdivision going from meets and bounds to a legal lot of record. Includes 2 conditions with regard to lot size and lot width. Is there a motion?
Move to approve, subject to staff recommendations.
Second.
All in favor, or any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, the subdivision passes. Agenda item number 3, 752 Langdon Drive. This is also a 1-lot subdivision. Is there a motion?
Move to approve subject to staff recommendations.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, the motion passes. Agenda item number 4, this is 752 Todd Acres Drive, subdivision of 1 lot. Does include 2 waivers. This is the one the applicant present on this one? Or?
I don't believe there was a representative present. Anderson's correct. It was Jerry Bird present for this application.
Okay,
it was okay. It was the previous one.
Just the 1 lot. All right.
Move to approve subject to staff recommendations.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Agenda item number 5. This is east side of Alba Club Road, north of Staples Road, subdivision of 2 lots. Does include a waiver regarding to lot width. This is the one that was 57.5 feet. Is there a motion?
Move to approve subject to staff recommendations.
Properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, the motion passes. Agenda item number 6, 69 North Monterey. This is a subdivision, includes a waiver regarding a corner radius and a flag-shaped lot. Is there a motion?
Move to approve subject to staff recommendations. Second.
Properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, the motion passes. Number 7, 6137 Todd Acres Drive and 5632 Commerce Boulevard West. This is a subdivision.
Move to approve subject to staff recommendations.
Second.
Properly moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Well, Mr. Chair, I'll be abstaining from this vote. I feel that the packet that was provided doesn't properly reflect all the information. So I'll be abstaining from this vote.
I would say this. It sounds like there was consensus on that agenda, on the rezoning. I'm personally a little uncomfortable. The rezoning isn't on the agenda. If there's consensus on this, feels like adding something to it that isn't on the agenda is this commission could just get in the way of progress.
Yeah, plus the Bible on what is property what it's zoned is the official zoning map that's kept in the city's records in their offices. And we just can't take somebody's, and we rely on the staff for that. So, in all due respect to Mr. Reynolds, he might be correct, but I just don't want y'all going down that road.
Mr. Chair, a question for staff. When does zoning take effect? Is it whenever it's when it's voted on by the city council, or I guess when do we recognize and update the maps? So if I seek a zoning approval and I get my zoning approval when I walk out that door from city council, is that when it takes effect? Or
Well, we receive the ordinance from the city clerk's office, and then it takes us several days to update the zoning map. But once we've received notice from city clerk that it has been approved, typically we will update the map. I will point out that this subdivision will not create a split zoning situation because the property in question will be its own lot. So whether or not the B5 or R1 is in play is not going to affect the subdivision itself.
right, I understand that, but I just think out of principle that the map that I'm looking at in the package, should adequately reflect everything that's taken place, and it's not even included in the staff summary, or the let me see. It's not even, what occurred. All it kind of just leaves this situation is that, however, the city council denied the rezoning and the subdivision was not signed or recorded. So it doesn't, to me, that doesn't really tell the full length and depth of what occurred there, I guess. So and that's why I'm abstaining.
All right, any other comments from commissioners? All right, subdivision is properly moved and seconded. We can move on to a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, and Councilman Woods has abstained. The motion passes. We'll move on to agenda item number 8. This is the northwest corner of Congress and North Claiborne Street. This is a subdivision to create legal lots of record. Includes 2 waivers regarding the lot width and curb cut, and also the corner radius. Staff report is going to be amended. Number 4, identify the primary frontages on lots 2 and 8. And amend number 5 to place a note saying that lot 8 is allowed to have a curb cut.
So moved.
Second.
Properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? Is there a motion?
I think that was it.
Oh, we are. Yeah, okay. It is properly moved and seconded. There's no discussion. We can, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Told you all this was my first time doing this. I'm trying to keep us moving here. All right, we'll move on to number 9. This is Dawes Road, 625, 635, 645. This is a et cetera subdivision creating 64 lots.
Move to approve subject to staff recommendations.
Second.
Properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? No discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, the motion passes. Agenda item number 10, 575 and 561 US Highway 90 West. This is a waiver of a sidewalk. I am recusing, and we'll turn this over.
Is there a motion?
Move to approve the waiver.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes.
All right. Agenda item number 11, 4297 Riviera Duchesne. This is also a request for a sidewalk waiver along Riviera Duchesne, excluding Halls Mill. Okay. Is there a motion?
To approve.
Second.
Properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? No discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, the motion passes. Moving on to number 12, 6950 Moffett Road, rezoning from LB2 to R1. For motion,
Motion to approve subject to staff recommendations.
Second.
we need to adopt some findings of fact.
I amend my motion to findings of following conditions, 1 and 2. Wait, am I reading the wrong thing? Sorry. Findings of facts, A, C, D, E, F, and G.
Second.
All right, properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Final item, agenda item number 13. This is 1 Hardwood Lane. It's a major modification of a previously approved planning approval in PUD. Is there a motion? I guess we need to take these separately.
Yeah.
Yes, because you have a planning approval and planning and
Yeah,
development.
so
and
we'll-
they
yeah,
each
we'll do
have their
the-
set of
the-
findings of fact.
Planning approval.
Move to approve subject to staff recommendations.
Second.
And we will need some findings of
With
fact.
findings of fact A, C, and D.
I properly moved and seconded. We get a second on that? I mean,
Second.
okay. All right. Properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The modification of planning approval passes. We'll now do the modification of the plan unit development. So we'll also need some findings of fact. Is there a motion?
Move to approve subject to staff recommendations with findings of fact A through H.
Second.
Properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The motion passes. We already did 14.
That's what I thought. Making sure.
All right, that concludes the application section. We've got to approve previous minutes from August 5th, 2021, August 19th, 2021, September 2nd, September 16th, October 7th, and October 21st, all of 2021.
Motion to approve?
Properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right. That concludes the meeting. Can I get no, Ms. Biko?
Mr. Chairman, if I could, I'd like to introduce you all to our new Deputy Director of Planning and Zoning, Mr. Stephen Guthrie. Stephen comes to us from the city of Hattiesburg, where he served as the department manager for their MPO. So this is day 4 for Mr. Guthrie. So he is taking it all in day by day. He went through an extensive interview process, and we believe that we have gotten the right guy for the job. So excited to introduce him and welcome him to the city of Mobile.
Well, welcome aboard. All right. Anything else?
I do want to recognize Victoria, the redhead over there. She's the one that's been doing these minutes. We were years behind in minutes, and I've had to get a lot of them recently for some litigation appeals from Planning Commission and Board of Adjustment, and she's doing a wonderful job. I just want to let y'all know who was doing all those minutes, and she's doing a lot of credit.
Well, thank you. All right. All right. Do we have to have a motion to adjourn? I just have this power. All right, let's end it.